morning. So I want to pick up where we left off with the Libertarian ticket. I've been doing a lot of research the last couple of days on William Weld, the vice presidential pick for the Libertarian Party. I think it's important to note that with these two guys, they say that they're going to have a 2-for-1 presidency. So both of them are like running as co-presidents instead of president and vice president. Their own words.
And I hope it's obvious. Look, we're proposing to do this as a team. We're not going to have separate staffs. That divides the two of us, and it's 2 for the price of 1.
Well, it's 2 for the price of 2, but even that is a bargain in today's politics.
The 2-for-1. I don't know how that would work out, in reality, and if they had a disagreement, but that's what they're saying. So, and Bill is the big fundraiser. He talks about how much he loves the fundraiser and has the connections to do it. So I spent a pretty good amount of time looking into his past, and I have to say he's rather congenial. He comes across well-spoken, and I don't know, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He's someone who apparently gets bored with a lot of things and likes to move on and do different things, and I can definitely relate to that. So he kind of seems like somebody you might want to, just know socially or drink or something, but I don't like his positions, and his memberships. He's a member of the CFR. He's very establishment. He married into the Roosevelt family. His dad was a Wall Street broker, and apparently he's gotten into the Wall Street stuff in recent times too. He's also a novelist and wrote a couple of books, which we'll go into in this. So yeah, but he's definitely not a libertarian. I wouldn't even consider him a Republican. In his book, one of the books he wrote, the hero of his book is a Democrat. So we'll go into that. Let's take a look at some of the excerpts from this first Libertarian town hall that was done on CNN. Let's go about this one item at a time. William Weld and his financial connections to Wall Street and ability to fundraise from establishment figures.
I had the honor of serving at Mitt Romney's co-chair in New York for both of his presidential runs, and I've hung around the Republican National Committee for a long time. So half of the big Republican donors have said they're not going to support Mr. Trump. That's a lot to work with.
Half of the big Republican donors are not going to support Donald Trump. And he's saying that's a lot to work with. Of course, they're going to do anything they can to derail Trump. So the Libertarian Party candidate here is going to be able to siphon off a lot of money in fundraising, more than the Libertarian Party has ever seen. Now I'd like to I dug this up from an old Charlie Rose interview back in the 90s, where William Weld talks about fundraising and how much he loves to fundraise, and alludes to new ambitions in finance and law. Let's take a listen.
I'm happy practicing law and writing novels.
Well, I don't have to be completely 100% out of public life, but I'm out of the nonsense.
What's the nonsense? Raising money?
No, I don't mind that. I love the fundraising. You kidding me? Everyone that says they can't stand fundraising, show me somebody that says that, and I'll show you a liar.
Really?
Fundraising is the easiest part of the job and least stressful, I think.
Have you, over the last 2 years, given up any ambition?
No.
In other words, have you said, I may now not ever be president? I'm not on that track anymore.
I've acquired new ambitions.
To do what?
I have literary ambitions. I have financial ambitions, which were not even a possibility before.
You make a lot of money practicing law? It's not a good way to make a lot of money. Let me help you.
Oh, Charlie, how wrong you are. Practicing law can make a lot of money. And I just happened by chance to come across this Bloomberg article that talks about William Weld and handling the Solyndra case, which was a green energy solar company that debacle, and there's lots of media you can read about it. But he charges $8.95 an hour, works for McDermott, Will, and Emery. And my purpose of showing this is just to show that he rubs elbows with people on Wall Street, and he's a socialite, and he can raise a lot of money. He is in the establishment circles, and in my opinion, those establishment circles. That's not just my opinion. You can definitely look at the establishment and what they promote, and it flies in the face of the majority of the libertarian platform and what libertarians believe in. So this guy, yeah, he can get money for the Libertarian Party, but the Libertarian Party would have to sell its soul to get it. I want to concentrate this next part on just some questions that was asked of William Weld and what he thought of different political leaders over time, from Obama, Clinton to Bush, and you can kind of judge for yourself if he's supporting these kind of people. Why in the world is he on the Libertarian ticket?
Barack Obama? I think he's been statesmanlike the last couple of years. He had a disappointing first term, and I think he's picked up his game the last couple of years. It's going better for him.
Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld, a Republican who backed Mitt Romney during the primary season, but today has endorsed Barack Obama. Sir, you're quoted as saying, it's not often you get a guy with his combination of qualities, that being Barack Obama, chief among which I would say is the deep sense of calm he displays, and I think that's a product of his equally deep intelligence. Do you want to expand on that, sir?
Well, I think the calm that Barack Obama has demonstrated in the face of having everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him for the last 2 years is hugely impressive and evidence that he could start Monday as President of the United States. I do think it's linked to the fact that he's obviously a very, very sharp guy. He's also got what I would call a first-class political temperament and has reached across the aisle in the past. I think he's very well suited to be sit in that Oval Office.
So he's a big Barack Obama supporter. He was in the beginning when Barack was first running in 2008, and he apparently still is in 2016. So there you go with that. In 2015, when the Republican primary was still rolling early on, Bill Weld came out for Jeb Bush, which this article from the Boston Herald points out. It's interesting who he's supported. It crosses political lines, but if you look at the pictures here and who he's supporting, they're all establishment candidates. So let's look at some more of this, who Bill Weld has supported over the years.
Welcome to the broadcast. We're live this evening from New York, Washington, D.C., and New Hampshire. Tonight, President George Bush delivered his State of the Union address.
We've not come all this way through tragedy and trial and war, only to falter.
How have you seen him change from this governor of Texas to a guy who stood up to the nation tonight to report on the State of the Union as a politician, as a human being, as a leader, as a Republican?
I think he rose to the challenge. As he said, we face grave responsibilities, and I think he really has grown in office and risen to the international challenge. The reason I've always supported him, and I endorsed him very early, is that behind closed doors, I've seen him be that compassionate conservative. I've even seen him field questions from people who were almost inviting a divisive answer, and he wouldn't give it.
Yeah.
That's why I love the guy.
Okay, so you can see here he's another Bush, G.W. Bush. He supported him very early on, he states, and at the very end it says he just loves the guy. So, again, another establishment figure and another endorsement by Weld. So, he's an establishment guy. He's neck deep in him. I want to turn now to William Weld and his views on Hillary Clinton. They've got a long history that goes back to the Watergate days, and he just cannot say enough nice things about her. Let's take a listen to some of this.
Hillary Clinton. Old friend, nice kid, knew her in her 20s. We shared an office on the Nixon impeachment. Real bond, lifelong. Seriously, not kidding. Well, I think Mrs. Clinton, no matter what you might think of various economic policies, is very well qualified to be president of the United States. I would not say the same of Mr. Trump, with all respect.
Governor Weld, what do you make of Hillary Clinton's, this ongoing FBI investigation? Many Republicans believe that she should be disqualified for operating this private homebrew server. She exposed our national secrets, top classified information to hackers, to foreign enemies. given the investigation is still ongoing, are you still open to lending support to her?
Oh yeah, I am. I've never bought that email thing. I don't think anything was classified when she did it. It got classified later. So, but it's partly because I've not been professionally involved in analyzing that case. But just as a layperson, I've never bought that. I know her well, and I don't think she would lay a lot of stuff out on the table that she thought would compromise our national security. Quite the contrary. So I'm not a buyer.
Some people say that just the fact that she operated off the .gov server, that she created her own private server, that's the smoking gun in and of itself, that she should never have had the server, that she broke the rules, and other people get in trouble for doing that type of thing. Are you saying she should get a pass?
Well, I'm not an expert. It's really not my issue. I've read right past the issue, maybe, but I just maybe I don't have sufficient expertise here.
We're joined by Governor Weld here on Boston Herald Radio. Governor.
So he's quite the supporter and apologist for Hillary Clinton. He thinks very highly of her, and it sounds like he loves her. And speaking of love, one of the more bizarre twists of this is that there was some fan fiction written about Hillary Clinton and William Weld being lovers. It was a book that's going to be coming out called Rodham, and it was written by a South Korean, by Young Kim. I don't know whether that's a pen name or not, but let me just read you a little bit about this. Rodham was written by Young Il Kim, a relatively unknown South Korean. Though casting and filming haven't begun, the movie is set to be produced by Wyatt Godfrey and Marty Bowen of Temple Hill Entertainment, The Twilight Saga, and directed by James Ponsdolf, whose coming-of-age drama, The Spectator, now was a standout at this year's Sundance Film Festival. The screenplay for Rodham was a hot commodity in Hollywood, earning a place on the 2012 Blacklist, an annual compendium of the best unproduced screenplays floating around Tinseltown. Now, on page 60 and 66 of this fan fiction book, it reads like this. Hillary is on the hotel rooftop having a drink with William Weld, who has just surprised her on her birthday with a vinyl record of the greatest hits from the Watergate tapes. They're listening to the tapes on the rooftop on the Congressional Hotel and draw closer for the inevitable kiss. When the moment is broken up by Terry Kilpatrick, who tells Hillary that a call from Bill Clinton, whom she has not been close to in quite some time, wishing her happy birthday. The flirtation with Weld is seemingly over, and Bill plays Hillary both Happy Birthday and Hail to the Chief on the saxophone. This, combined with help advising her on the impeachment committee work, apparently wins her back. So there you go. Kind of a weird twist. I didn't expect to find this on William Weld and Hillary Clinton. And the fact that William Weld himself is a writer, novelist, kind of makes you wonder, is there some connection in the literary world with writers and playwrights and stuff? What's going on here? I don't know. I'm just guessing, but if anyone has any more light to shed on this bizarre, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's just move on. So I got to keep this short. I've got a 15-minute limit with YouTube with not having a verified account, so I've got to come back to the William Weld stuff a little bit later. It's going to be focusing on more of his positions when it comes to guns, economy, different things like that, hot topic issues for people. But for now, I'll have to sign off and rejoin you in part 2 of my William Weld's research. So until then, this is Brian Stiles. See you later.